Hello, Algebra Scholars, and welcome back. So we're about to finish our last unit in algebra on solving quadratics. And one of the things I asked you to do kind of as an extra assignment over the weekend was this thinking critically activity. And I asked that you try your best and solve for ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 if you could solve for x. What I gave you is not an easy task. It's something that I didn't actually have to do until college and didn't understand until college. And I want to go ahead and share with you some of the responses that you guys sent. Many of you were off to a great start, and really that's all I was looking for, is for you to take a look at the equation and do something mathematical with it that made sense, to use math rules to try your best to isolate the variable for x. Okay, so I want to share my screen here and share a couple of responses. And many of you had the same, so I don't know if there was collaboration going on or true collaboration going on, but if so, I'm glad that you guys were talking with one another. But one of the number one answers I got, I think from, let's see, Alexis and I think Leo, Julia, Matthew, Victoria, Andrea, and I think that was about it. Maybe Sebastian. I think that was it. So you all had very similar answers and similar approaches. I'll stop for instance on the lovely Victoria. So I like that you guys were probably anticipating, since we just got done completing the square or using the square root method, I think a lot of you did a great job anticipating that that had something to do with solving for x, and it absolutely did. So one of the biggest things I saw was, it looks like you guys completed this square. So right under ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, you guys chose to write the quantity of x plus d squared equals 0. So that is a great start. I'm curious to know where the d came from, because we cannot introduce another variable unless you've introduced it to the left and then to the right side of your equation. So that is not legal. But you're going to see right now that is actually a very crucial step in solving for x. But I do like that you guys used the square root method. It looks like you guys took the square root of both sides, and then you ended up with x plus d equals 0. You isolated x. So most of what you did was spot on, but there were a lot of other things that needed to be done. I do want to see, I don't want to miss anyone here. I believe it was Elena. Sorry, pardon my scrolling. Elena and Kristen and Charlene was definitely on the right path here. And I think it was Josie and Jessica. Yeah. So they look like they pretty much derived something called the quadratic formula, which I'm going to show you in our second video, which is 15 minutes long. So when you have a chance, I want you to really take a look at the steps that they did and kind of follow along before the video that I do. But here it is. Just do a quick, I'm not, going to hold this up for a very long time, but this is essentially it. Notice how it took my entire paper, and for some of you, it took your entire paper as well. So solving for x, although it did have to do with completing the square, although it did have to do with the square root method, there were a lot of other things. So I invite you, in fact, it's mandatory, to watch the second video to explain and see why, rather, where this formula came from and why we use it. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. This is video 1 of 3. The second video, I'm going to have you watch how we derive the quadratic formula, how the lovely ladies over here were able to derive the formula, if you have any questions as to where these steps came from. Good thing is, for high school algebra, you don't have to memorize the steps. You just need to know how to sequentially get the steps. So like if I were to give you a puzzle, you would be able to put the steps in order. So that's a skill that you need. That's the second video, okay? It's explaining why. And really, it's helpful for you to write it down on a piece of paper as you go to see where everything is coming from. And then the most important video I'm going to have you watch is video number 3. It's very annoying and it gets the job done. So I think for the past 11 years I've been teaching algebra for the most part. I've had my algebra students watch this video. It's a song, like I mentioned, it's a little annoying, but it has you memorize this formula and it has you do it usually by watching the video once or twice. It is annoying, like I mentioned, but your only job this week is to memorize this formula. That is it. Do what needs to be done to memorize this formula. In fact, I'm going to be posting a Flipgrid assignment, and that is all that is due this week. Is you're going to look into your camera and tell me the quadratic formula, preferably without blinking, and preferably with a parental unit to monitor you in the back. So here we go. You ready? X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. So you're going to have to do that with, with some speed and from memory. So best of luck, and let me know if you need any help this week. Take care.